Yes, hello. I am James Rowlands, and today it's the WNR519. It's WWE Backlash 2024. I'm not alone. I have a pleasure to be joined by the entire WNR team. Up first by my side for every WWE and AEW show is, of course, the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. How's it going, Jaxie?
Hello, hello. Happy Backlash weekend. Well, Backlash discussion weekend at least. I hope everyone's doing well. Thank you for joining us on this wondrous occasion of us discussing everything to do with WWE Backlash.
Doesn't it just feel like a second ago that we were reviewing WrestleMania? You know, where does the time go?
It flies by, doesn't it, when you're having fun?
It does. Well, up next, our resident NXT expert and New Japan demigod, it is Monty. How's it going, man?
It's going great. It's going great. You know, over here today is Mother's Day, so I want to send love to all the mothers. I know we're celebrating it today over here in America, but everybody can get some love, including my wife, of course, who's holding my daughter down as we speak. So, thank you, babe. But yeah,
Happy Mother's Day to everyone.
Happy Mother's Day to everybody. But yeah, doing good though. I'm happy to be here. It was a really, really fun show last weekend, so I can't wait to talk about it.
Well, before that, I should say, last but by no means least, I've got to do a little bit backstory for this, and I do apologise. If anybody's ever seen Sextet from 1976, no, I didn't think you did. But in it, you have Timothy Dalton, who went on to play James Bond, and Mae West, who at the time must have been her 80s. And for this intro, I'm going to play both. Hopefully this works. Here we go.
Oh,
Love.
jeez.
Love will keep us together. Think of me, babe, whenever some sweet-talking girl comes along, singing her song. Don't mess around, you've just got to be strong. Just stop, 'cause I really love you. Stop, I'll be thinking of you. Look in my heart and let love keep us together forever. You belong to me now. Ain't gonna set you free now. When those girls start hanging around, talking me down, here with your heart, and you won't hear a sound. Just stop, 'cause I really love you. Stop, I'll be thinking of you. Look in my heart and let love keep us together. Wherever. Here's, of course, Gina, the Mae West to my Timothy Dalton. I mean, I don't care if anybody else didn't like it. It popped me. How's it going, Gina?
That's brilliant. I mean, I definitely have no clue what this show was about. I think I know who Timothy Dalton is, but yeah, I'm not too sure. Anyway, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm going to send it. I'll send it in the group and, of course, on Twitter and anything like that. I was going to ask you to be Mae West, but I thought it was just too much. I don't know you well enough yet. But again...
I would have been a shit Mae West anyway, don't worry.
Well, you're here.
You did better.
Yeah, that's all that matters. You're here for Backlash. We're all here now. So we're going to get straight into the kind of news leading up to Backlash. And one of the main bits, even coming out from, what was it, WrestleMania, was Rhea Ripley had to surrender the Women's Championship after a 380-day reign. Now, Jaxie, this was a real kick in the teeth.
It was. This is the second time that, due to no fault or storyline of her own volition, Rhea's had to vacate the belt. We know that during sort of the pandemic, when Rhea was sort of feuding with Charlotte for the NXT title, I think original plans were to actually put Rhea over, but due to her sort of, I think it was to do with her visa of some sorts, issues, she had to vacate to go back and sort it out in Australia. So that was frustrating. And it's frustrating now. I'm not sure whether or not the injury was actually indefinitely from the Liv Morgan segment, or whether or not there was an injury before that, and this just added to that to ultimately sort of wrap into the storyline of Liv came back with a vengeance and actually got her revenge, that sort of thing. They've done well to work that into it, so I don't know if that was their intention when they first found out about Rhea's injury, or whether or not this was just sort of like a happily sort of crossing over sort of thing that could take place. But I just wish Rhea Ripley all the best. She not only as a wrestler, just to get back to reclaim her throne soon, but also just I know she's engaged. She's got a wedding coming up. I don't want her being injured for her own wedding day. I'm not sure when that is, so I hope that she's got plenty of time to recover and that this does not thwart any of her personal plans, let alone, kind of where we can happily wait, for Rhea to come back. I think once she comes back, she's going to get the biggest pop ever. But I hope this doesn't put any issues into her personal life. Injuries can always end up doing that to people. So I'm just wishing her the best and for a speedy recovery.
Yeah, it is a bit of a shame, like talk about Monty, as we've spoken with Rhea Ripley, how dominant she has been. And I think, it's always a shame with a champion not being able to kind of drop the title and what would happen. But also it kind of shows as well with the roster that there was no kind of ready-made kind of Rhea Ripley replacements. No one really on her level at this moment in time.
Yeah, no, but it's an opportunity. I think that's the thing about this. Injuries happen. We all wish her the best. We all want her to be back. It's unfortunately timed because I agree. I think they pretty much did a great job of building her up to the point to where it was her turn in this reign to start helping other people come up to her level. So it's kind of unfortunate that she won't be able to do that as champion, but I do believe it's an opportunity for others, like you mentioned, Liv Morgan, others on the Raw roster to just get an opportunity to see what they do in that spot if they get not only become champion, but just being a more of a focus on TV on Raw, because Rhea was not only just in the women's division, she was doing Judgment Day stuff and all of that. So she had a lot of television time. And yes, it does. You can feel that hole that she's left. But I do believe it's still that's the way wrestling works. Whenever a great talent like that goes down, it's time for someone else to step up and possibly showcase what they can do in that spot, or at least showcase the potential that they possibly can have in that spot. So as bummed out as I was also kind of looking forward to see who would be the one to be not only put in that position as champion, but who is now becoming the main focus of the women's division on Monday night. So I think at the end of the day, you got to kind of look at it that way as a fan, because at any time, some of your favorites or whoever you like or don't like could be injured. So I've kind of gotten used to it, but yeah, man, it sucked. But I think, again, like I said, opportunity for everybody else.
Well, like you said, opportunity for crown a new women's champion. Speaking of champions, we got new Raw and SmackDown title designs. Now, Gina, I don't know about you, but I think the SmackDown titles are better than the Raw ones. But I don't know why there's not a hint of blue. It does my fucking head in. But what's your thoughts?
I mean, in a way, I'm kind of glad they got rid of the blue and the red colors and just left them to look a little bit more generic, because I think it makes the titles look more prestigious. Not that I didn't like the blue and red, but I think it's a nice way to change it up and not just make it like, even though we are separate shows with separate cohorts on, I think it helps to kind of just make the belts look a little bit more prestigious.
Yeah, I was worried that we're going to have kind of like 2 mini world titles again, and then just every title just a world title, but just different sizes. But luckily they didn't do that. Also, big news as well was Sami Zayn in Canada. I mean, not only the shot of Sami kind of outside the arena with the tracking shot of Jay following outside, but also the match itself, the actual entire kind of crowd. And not only that, but after he won, Chad Gable beat the shit out of him in front of his family. I mean, Monty, this was just WWE kind of, for me, flexing its muscle, what it can do now.
Yeah, I think this is one of those signs. I think more so than anything, what I've seen post WrestleMania, they keep making a big deal about this new era. I think the production changes and the focus on building up titles like the Intercontinental title, having a legitimate Intercontinental Championship, seen with storyline time given to it, the same way you would give a world title that time. I think those are the things that kind of really signify this new, fresh, new era that everybody keeps talking about, and the production changes, like you mentioned, walking Sammy through the arena and the energy and just the way they kind of did that, and that continuous shot. That, to be honest, I'm starting to see other promotions already start to try to do it. So it's kind of crazy how fast they're kind of changing the way things are typically done in wrestling already. But yeah, man, it's really, really cool little things like that, like you mentioned, that really crystallizes what this new period of time for WWE is all about. And like you mentioned, the match was incredible, but I think we kind of expected that with these two given time. But not only did they tell a great story, but it just all made logical sense. Everybody had a lot to say about uh, Chad not being the one to beat Gunther or not being the one in that position. So I really thought it was genius to not only have Sammy defended in Montreal in front of his family, but to have Chad to be jealous and take advantage of a spot that when he felt, and then he justified it the next week, basically saying that Sammy beating him was fine, but going over there and kind of hugging your wife, which none of us can really blame Sammy for that, but it makes sense that would be the thing to drive Gable over the edge. So I just thought it was really well done all around.
Yeah, like you said, with Gable as well, with the kind of disappointment with his kids kind of crying in the audience, he felt that was kind of slapping his face. And again, even with Sami Zayn coming back kind of to his hometown the last time losing to Reigns, so now it's kind of like the champion beating kind of this undefeated guy, Gunther. Really good stuff. On SmackDown, AJ beat LA Knight to become number one contender. WWE had 14,000 on SmackDown. The same day we were there at the O2 with 16,000 people. So 30,000 in just one day. It is incredible at this moment in time. On Raw, McIntyre mocked Sheamus. Banger after banger. More like burger after burger. And again, guys, I know you're going to say whatever, but Drew is doing his best work at this moment in time. Battle Royal for Women's World Championship, won by Becky Lynch, last eliminated Liv Morgan. Jaxie, Becky Lynch, picking up the mantle from Rhea Ripley. What were your thoughts on this?
This is not surprising. I actually said to Gina, why didn't we just give Becky the belt? They clearly wanted to put that on her if Rhea wasn't going to be sort of around. And Becky is kind of one of the four horsewomen. So if it wasn't going to be Becky, it would have been like a Charlotte if Charlotte was there. Do you know what I mean?
That's a shame, isn't it? Come on, Charlotte.
I mean, that would have been a nice change, I think. At this point, I wasn't surprised by it, but I was just a bit annoyed by it. But quite frankly, I would have actually had more fun seeing Nia Jax pick up the win and be like, fuck all you bitches. I just ran all over past all of you. She's had this, like bullshitty attitude for so long. They really could have actually used this opportunity to start building up a new babyface, considering all of the people that they're bringing up right now. By having them work hard to actually overcome the big bad that is Nia Jax. So personally, I would have put it on Nia Jax.
There's again people saying you should have put it on Liv, but the thing is if Liv
no,
I don't here, yeah, exactly.
She would have gotten like obliterated beforehand. And I think the idea is to put it on Liv around the time that Rhea is coming back, so that Rhea could be like, "Hi, bitch, give me my belt back," So, or that's what I would do. So personally, yeah, I just don't understand the need to put it back on Becky, apart from it being a safety blanket, to do that, because I would have put it on Nia Jax. And considering the draft that was coming up, literally the week after, and the names that you've brought up, plus you've got other names you've just recently brought up that include the likes of Ivy Nile, Tiffany Stratton, Naomi's return. You've got all these women in the mix. You easily could have just put it straight up on a hill, because we all know that Rhea Ripley was a heel, but not really a heel because everyone loves her. So putting it on someone like Nia Jax and then building up one of your new call-ups or one of the new faces that have just joined, how does that not make sense?
But I think you just said it
Sure.
earlier. Like you said, having Charlotte,
So-
someone like a Charlotte or Becky Lynch, it's a safe pair
Yeah.
of hands. Reminds me a lot of like Edge back in the day when you needed just this champion, and it gives Liv
Yeah.
someone to beat for that title as well. You know.
And we said
Exactly.
somebody on Rhea's level. Like, no one is even close
Mm.
other than Becky on the Raw roster. So,
Yeah. So,
Um,
if they weren't going to go ahead and trust someone like Nia with it, then it was always going to ultimately be Becky.
My next question is, what is an MFT? I don't know if anybody knows what an MFT is. I mean, Gina, any clue?
motherfucking Tonga.
Is it motherfucking Tonga? Do you think that's it? I'm
Probably
like
not,
that.
but that's what I'm saying.
I have no idea, but I think that would make a whole lot more sense.
No clue.
My friend Tama. Whatever,
My friend Tama
wherever you
was my English one. Yeah.
wherever you want to go.
My friend Tama, I love it.
My favorite Tongan. We can
My
do
favorite
this.
Tongan.
You got a lot of ways you can go.
Well, anyway, he showed up and attacked Owens, and of course Solo's taken over the Bloodline. We got the WWE draft. Melo was number 1 pick, and he did have a match with Cody with a double cutter missed, the kind of weird spot. But Monty, this is showing everybody, and I know a lot of people have got a lot of thoughts about the draft as well, but having Melo as a number 1 pick is confirmation of what we already knew, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, having Melo's number 1 pick, giving him an immediate promo, so you trust him on the mic. You give him a spot against Cody Rhodes immediately. Whether whether it was what they were going for. Again, I don't really mind the spot as much, but yeah, I knew what they were trying to do, and if they would have hit what they were trying to do, it would have been insane. But what they were trying to do was kind of like, it's crazy to even think about, to do the clothesline and the cutter at the same, turn the clothesline that Melo does into a Cody cutter. Yeah, it would have been insane to even time that. They obviously need to work on that a little bit more. But either way it goes, the match ended up being pretty cool because you still make Melo look credible, even though I think we all knew the champion would do what he does and win. So it was great. It's just a great look, like you mentioned. I think it kind of, even if people don't know much about Melo or don't remember that he kind of already semi-debuted in a tournament earlier this year. I think it was just an immediate, they think this guy is pretty good. So even if you haven't been watching recently, you look at the way they treated Melo just on that draft night, you'd be like, oh no, WWE got something special here. You can tell they believe so. So it kind of makes you, even if you don't know much about him, makes you want to take note and look at him a little bit more closely. So I was really, really happy with his presentation. I've been happy with what he's been doing all together so far. Because he's returning to that cocky Melo that I love from NXT, and I think he's going to be just fine right there on SmackDown.
Yeah, without doubt. And again, with the draft, it was more kind of, and even trying to say it over a couple of nights, like consolidating their talent that they had rather than kind of grabbing anybody else. So there might not been any kind of like spectacular kind of drafts across. Don't get me wrong, I was annoyed Bron and Corbin were kept apart. But again, it's kind of, I think it's worthwhile. I mean, Gina, do you think the draft worked for what it was? I think the best thing for it was the kind of NXT call-ups because of the real emotion, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if like the people in NXT are actually told ahead of time, like, you're going to be getting called up. So I have no idea whether, the shock on their face is actually genuinely real or not. It would be nice if it genuinely was real, but
yeah, I think it's real.
Yeah, I think it's real because I thought Ilya was going to fucking torpedo Moscow Shawn Michaels at one point.
They don't know.
I
They don't.
Lyra Valkyria, she looked really shocked when she got called up.
So genuine. Yeah.
So I think it's still nice, and if you're going to keep your brand separate, it is nice to do this draft because it adds to storylines and to shake things up, sort of thing. But it's because when they become repetitive, which we have had in the past, where the past few years it's just like, oh, here we go with the draft again, when nothing big is really going to change here. But now that we're kind of entering this new era, as they're liking to call it, it'll be interesting to see, the storylines that do come out of all of these changes happening to the rosters.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. We saw footage of Carlito attacking Dragon Lee, which he did again after the reveal. Carlita ran through the crowd to escape Mysterio. I guess there's something about Ray. Now, Jaxie...
We already agreed on this.
I know, Monty, you and I have. But, Jaxie, I mean, can you imagine just one person that's so annoying that everybody just keeps turning on them? I mean, I don't know. I mean, who are you backing in this situation? Is it Ray or is it everybody else that's got the problem?
I think everyone else has the problem. Like Ray can look at what. Right? No. Okay, wait. Listen. I'm sorry. Let me just say this. Don't get me wrong. We have got all these amazing upcoming young new Latino stars that really can take the mantle from Ray. But that is specifically the issue. Who is taking that mantle from Ray? And right now we're seeing all of them trying to work with Ray, but also craving the same level of respect and talent in ring that Ray produces week in, week out, continuing on his legacy, like knowing his age and knowing what he can still do. It's still all about passing the mantle. And I've started to realize this since Ray's been going kind of back and forth, first with Dominic, then him turning, then with Santos turning, then with Carlito turning. What we're seeing here is a pattern, and I feel like that is for a reason. And I think that is because we are actually seeing all these younger Latinos powers at play, all actually trying to take that mantle from Ray, but forcefully.
Yeah, I would agree with you. But what about Eddie Guerrero? What about Batista? What about Chavo Guerrero? What about Ricky Guerrero? What about the people that turned them in the past?
Eddie Guerrero wanted his kid. Batista wanted his fame and relevancy. Big Show wanted his height. Brock Lesnar wanted his fandom.
Everybody jealous of the.
I'm just making these things up now as I go. But like, you see what I mean? Like, I think that this common pattern here, and I was kind of talking this out with Gina. In my eyes, I believe that we're sort of seeing like a real struggle on who is going to pick up that mantle from Ray. And I think that that's the way that they're working this storyline, is that a lot of these young proteges that originally are looking up to Ray are also turning on Ray because they're like, how are you still this good? Get out, retire, go. Let me take the mantle. And they're getting fed up with waiting for that. I mean, I'm trying to look at it that way as well. I don't know your opinions there, Monty. You've clearly had this discussion with James by yourself, but that is from my point of view.
I agree. Go ahead.
That's what I've deducted from it. Please do enlighten me.
You're making Rey Mysterio into the Elder Wand, and everybody that touches it seems to die.
Well, it kind of is. Yeah. It kind of is when you're looking at the legacy that is Rey Mysterio. But again, I don't know this conversation that you two have clearly had, so I'm not sure about your arguments on either side.
I'm just saying, in real life, if you was a guy and you just every friend he ever had was like, you piece of shit, just turn.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
you gonna run to hang out with that guy?
You know what? Realistically, if we're talking about this from a realistic, like, in-person point of view, like this is happening to a person with every single friend of theirs, they would ultimately give up and say, "Do you know what? Fuck this shit. Fuck people. I'm not coming out. I'm staying inside, and I'm going to become an online internet troll."
They might find three other like-minded people and start a pod. Or continue a podcast.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah. I wonder if you would do that.
Anyway, move on. And again, if anybody saw this coming, you let me know. Braun Strowman returning. It's almost like it's... Oh, I recognise that guy. Oh, yeah, that's him. Yeah. Braun chasing off Logan Paul. That's what we want. And Punk playing City Buggers with Drew. Fuck them. Move on to SmackDown Kickoff live in Lyon. And they are really bigging up France. Cole and Saxon hosting. Triple H out first. We get Naomi, Bailey, Tiffany, but they got swallowed up by the chants. Nice Andre video. Owens and Orton. Kevin, of course, spoke French. Cody and AJ. It was all right. But Monty, again, I've mentioned it to you before. We can see a lot of this. This is just WWE going, look how many fans we got. We're in France. Fuck you guys.
Yeah, man. Worldwide. That's what, hey, I get it, man. Like, you got to understand. Whether people want to admit it or not, people in the boardroom were seething last year when you guys were making all y'all noise about Wembley Stadium. So they like, oh, we're going to try to flex as much as possible. It's not just Saudi Arabia. We going everywhere we can. By the way, last year's Backlash was awesome too. With Bad Bunny and all of that reception. So I love it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I love it. They make us United States fans
Becoming a
look
trend.
like we are just spoiled. I'm like the way the foreign fans appreciate WWE really makes me be like, do we even have fun at these shows in America? Because you get mad. French was fun. It was fun, but I agree. It's definitely just a big old flex. And look at all these people that's here to see us, and look how much fun they're having. I don't blame you, man. Do what you gotta do.
We'll move on to SmackDown, and we had Belair, Jay Cargill, Naomi, and Bayley beating Damage Control and Tiffany Stratton. And I mean, Gina, again, you knew it was special, not only just from the crowd, but to have this match start the show, you're like, fucking hell, this is a big event.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the crowd did not disappoint. They really didn't. And France was loud. I think it's the loudest I've ever heard. And yeah, again, to have this open the show really set the scene. I think like Randy Orton's entrance was absolutely amazing and chilling.
We get Authors of Pain beating Bait and Dunn. LA Knight beat Berto. A-Town Down Under retained versus the Profits. And AJ and Cody faced off as well. Jaxie, what were your thoughts on it? I mean, again, SmackDown didn't really add much. But as Gina said, with the atmosphere and where we were kind of ready for Backlash at this point.
Yeah, I mean it was infectious. The crowd were just from beginning to end. We'll discuss going forward, but just the crowd would just never stopped. Really, they kind of helped build the excitement for the show on SmackDown with like showcasing how excited this crowd were, and just like let all of them like those sort of sounds carry on throughout it. Oh, it was very infectious. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, let's get to it then. So May 4th, Backlash. We got the kickoff. Big E and CM Punk in studio with Jackie Redmond, Pete Rosenberg. Kayla Braxton gets a lucky job because she is in France. Punk was shocked when New Japan was mentioned, and Big E saying, don't worry, it's different time. But like I said, the main thing was the crowd. It was lit as fuck. We get a standard intro, but it's all about the crowd. Owens was the first competitor to make his entrance for his tag team match with Randy Orton against Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga. He took his time getting to the ring while interacting with a French crowd. The crowd chanted, "We want Roman," as the bloodline came out. All four men started brawling for the ref could call for the bell. KO and Tonga paired up while Sikoa and Orton fought. Several producers and security tried to break up the fight before SmackDown general manager Nick Aldis showed up. He declared to be a street fight, or the match, and ordered the bell to be rung. Orton and Sikoa went into the crowd while Owens and Tonga fought at ringside. The crowd was going nuts during the whole contest. Several weapons was used, such as the kendo sticks, garbage cans, steel steps, and of course tables. It looked like KO was about to win after Owens had put Tama through chairs, but Tanga Loa made his WWE by breaking up the pin. Sikoa hit Owens with a Samoan spike for the win. I will say I cannot do any of the matches justice. You will have to go to understand what the crowd is. But Monty, what do you think of this? Because this was a fantastic opener.
Yeah, man, it was insane, man. What a first match for Tama like to have. Like a whole lot of people who were not familiar with Tama, I'm pretty sure. People was asking me, man, is this what he usually do? I'm like, no, that's the funny thing about it. This is not your usual Tama Tonga style match at all. But it was great. It was a great showcase, and just like to take a spot like that, basically on your first big night on the job, is insane. But it just shows the trust and just how he's already kind of ingratiated himself within the culture of WWE already, to me, because you could just see the chemistry that you wouldn't expect it already, but it just felt like he fit right in, if you know what I mean. So this was great. You know, it was a great time, and I 100% agree with your explanation. I don't think any of us can do anything that happened at Backlash the real justice, because the crowd, the energy, the way they were just connected to every single thing that happened. It was special. You know, I tweeted it out. Greatest crowd ever. It was a question mark at the time, but I mean, I don't know if I ever really just ever felt the energy like that throughout the entire card. And we can mention it the entire night. basically on just their energy. But anyway, no, this match was insane. It was absolutely great. Special way to start the show when you think about the stipulation and just I didn't know going into this that it was going to be basically like a street fight and all of that. And then seeing Tonga Loa, something that they did a great job of keeping quiet at the end there. I mean, I'm really, really excited for what God can possibly do. Finally, on a big stage like WWE, how can they be presented as a tag team? They did everything you can do in New Japan as a tag team. We know what Tama was, the open weight champion, and all of that in New Japan. So, it was time. It made sense. It made perfect sense, even though I didn't hear a peep about this coming into it. And it made me wonder. It's like, oh man, if you get Tonga Loa and Tama, whew, New Japan might have to actually pay. They're gonna have to actually pay Hikuleo to keep him.
They're
at
gonna
this
have to
point.
handcuff him to a radiator.
They're gonna have to pay him. Yes, like yeah. Forget all of this. Whatever they've been doing, you're gonna have to do something because I think Hikuleo is a no brainer because they wanted him before he ever debuted on the main roster in New Japan. So it just shows you the interest was always there. But I always, as a God fan and as somebody who's been watching them a long time, I always thought that they would fit in really good here. And I saw a lot of people already saying it, God versus the Usos and all of that. That can be some real fun in the future, depending on how they decide to tell this bloodline story. I'm all in. This was fun. This was really, really good. And Kevin and Randy was as solid as always. Special stuff from everybody in this.
Without doubt. Like you said, God WWE. Last time we saw Tangaloa was eating fish against Great Khan in New Japan. So again, most people thought this was going to be Jacob Fatu. So it's for him to show up. And again, Jaxie, this is again a nice surprise. We talked about Jacob Fatu, but we got this happening. And again, even at the start where you're going, oh, they're not going to just call it off, and it turns into a street fight. And it just went fucking nuts. Like one of the best starts to a pay-per-view in a long time.
They literally clicked the violence button straight from starting Backlash. I have to agree with everything that Monty's said about the match. Even, someone like myself who's only recently been watching regular sort of New Japan, even I was like, this is a complete different Tamatonga that we're seeing, like not even the Tamatonga from New Japan. So I'm really excited just from seeing this one match. I've been left feeling excited for what he could bring to WWE. And as you said, with like God, like both being there now, they look great alongside Solo. They really do. They look like such a power group. I'm excited and intrigued to see where things are going to go for this whole group at the moment. They really can go off on it and actually make it its own thing, picking up where sort of Roman left off, giving Roman the break and introducing this sort of newfound family members getting introduced to it. Again, it felt like foreshadowing from WrestleMania, especially after the whole Rock promo of bringing out the family tree and stuff like that. We had to think, there's got to be other family members coming if he's bringing that out. And they've done that. So I'm excited and I'm intrigued. And this match went hard. It was so good.
Yeah, and Gina, again, as you mentioned, the crowd singing to Orton's music was so cool. It's kind of surprising it hasn't happened more often. And also, not only that, but the look of fear in Paul Heyman's face. To talk about what the crowd were chanting, we want Roman. Heyman actually said, so do I, which was kind of just so bittersweet in a way. And another thing as well, Gina, Solo's hair did not enjoy the flight, it looked like.
Honestly, Heyman deserves an Oscar for the acting he's doing here. He genuinely seems terrified of Solo. He literally is just making this storyline even better than what it is, just because I think like Solo's still a bit basic on the mic and stuff. So it's still Paul Heyman's acting that's kind of pulling this story through. But yeah, so Solo's still got a bit of the, I know what that feels like having that Caribbean hair. The flight didn't help. But either way, it was still great. I'm not gonna lie though, I was so confused at first. Like everyone just came out and started fighting, and they were trying to split them up, and I was like, well, it's their fight now, so just leave them and just hit the bell. I was so confused, and then that's when they came running out and said, no, right now this is a street fight. So that's how it changed. But again, I was so confused in the beginning because I was just like, just let them fight.
Yeah, that's what he's tapping into. Yeah, he's
Yeah, you
unhinged,
really could
man.
tell.
Yeah, I gave it 4.5, man. This is really, really good. Like I said, hot, just fun, just like you said, pure violence, but in the best way, you know. So yeah, I had a really good time in watching this match. It kicked off the show, set a really good tone. Made me feel like tonight is gonna be today for me at the time. It's gonna be really fun.
I agree. 4.5 is a really good score to give this. It was a really great opener, and I really thought, oh, this is such a great way to get the crowd sort of active. They didn't need any more encouragement because they pretty much stayed like that the whole rest of the night. But they were lit for this match, and in turn, I was lit for this match.
Yeah, I'll give this a 4.5 as well. I definitely agree with everything, and the fact that I think Tamatonga was just, sort of accepted into the WWE universe, just showing how good he could integrate into the world. And especially for those who don't know him from the New Japan side, it was good for them to see like what sort of level a wrestler he is, and that he's not a complete noob. I mean, yeah, okay. So no, I thought the match was brilliant. I think the crowd again were just super hype for this match. All three women did so well as well. They like all of them had their own like kind of time and moment to shine throughout the match, and they had a decent time given to them to like pull this off. I think they worked well together, and shout out to Tiffany, who is a recent call up. She worked so well with the other two that it didn't seem like she's a noob coming up. So yeah, she really integrated with them all. And the thing is, I knew the ending. I knew that outcome was going to happen in terms of Bailey being the winner. But oh my god, I'm not going to lie. I'm really irked at Naomi just being like, yeah, okay, we're friends, we're besties.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, even your man is kind of heel at the moment. I think you need to just go heel, team back up with Naya, bring back Team Bad, and just be like, nah, that belt should have come with me. So it was a bit disappointing just to see her all chummy straight after. I did expect her to like, fob her off, but maybe just be a bit more disappointed that she didn't get it, because how many chances has Naomi had since coming back at Royal Rumble at being able to get the title? And I do get it. Like the first match, Tiffany Stratton got involved, so it was a DQ, so she didn't actually get to finish that match. And then with Tiffany's match, it was the same. So they were cancelling each other out. It made sense, make it a triple threat. But Naomi should just be more disappointed with where the past few weeks have gotten her.
Yeah. I think without a doubt, and Jaxie, as we spoke about, there's no doubt Naomi's a talent. But again, the problem with Babyface as well, they seem a bit bland. So we kind of don't want that. And another thing I was worried about was after the first match what the crowd would be like. But that was no worry because, again, they were just fucking nuts.
Yeah, agree. And I think this match really went well. I think, both of you made some really great points. I think all three women looked so good. It was really hard to kind of tell what the outcome was going to be. But I do feel very disappointed in Naomi's reaction to sort of losing, and she's sat there with a painted smile on her face. I need to see more from Naomi now, because you've got, her having one of the most sort of history-making, sort of iconic entrance, iconic match moments, kind of coming out alongside Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill in a trios match, which was an awesome match, and showcased all three of them to look so strong, so dominant. And it's not to say that I'm disappointed that Bayley retained. Of course, I think I'd be a bit disappointed if Bayley lost so quickly. But I guess I'm just, first and foremost, I know that they're all trying to big up Tiffany. I do still think that she still needs training and things like that. So I don't believe she needs to be given a chance for the belt yet. But I actually thought that she was brought in for this triple threat to take the pin. And that is to protect someone like Naomi, who I actually believe does have the means and the popularity to run with the belt again. And considering the success that we got off of Jade and Bianca recently, I think it's not that I'm disappointed at the loss. I'm disappointed at Naomi being losing to a roll-up, she's a veteran and should know better than that. And if it was going to be a roll-up spot, why didn't you put Tiffany in that spot?
Well, this is the thing,
she still is new to the roster. She's still, green around the ears. You don't expect someone a veteran like Naomi, who you actually still want to protect as well, by doing that roll-up pin moment. But then to also then accompany that with the way that she sort of was very happily smiling and celebrating Bayley after, I just didn't think it messed that well. So I don't know what they're doing with Naomi's character, but I'm worried at that point, From a match outcome though, this match was awesome. It showcased all three women so well. They all have individual strengths and can really hold the crowd's attention. So I have no doubt that all three of these women could hold that belt. I just guess the ending of the match mixed with Naomi's reaction to losing and being the one to take the pin, just for me didn't really add up, and just kind of left a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth. She could have just walked off a little bit frustrated. She didn't obviously need to be bitchy towards Bayley, but yeah.
No, but I think for that, and again, Monty, I don't know about you, but I think they should be building something with Naomi there, kind of being too nice. And I think Jaxie was right as well with Tiffany. She's been in Perth now at the Chamber. She's in France. They are building her slowly but surely, but she has got all the tools.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I'm just proud of Tiffany, honestly. I don't think people really realize how new she really is. She's only been doing this a little over 2 years, and to be as good as she already is, the problem ain't in the ring with Tiffany. If you got a problem with Tiffany, it's going to be learning how to get her character over verbally, and which I already like her promos, but I'm just saying they can be a little bit. It can be a little bit better than just the daddy's little girl, I'm better than you, Tiffy time stuff. So I do think they're doing a good deal right now of focusing on her in-ring work, because that's like we talk about all the times in NXT, James. That's her strong suit, her athleticism, how fast she's really picked up everything. And that's what I love the most about this match. As much as I love Naomi, this match was really about not only establishing Bayley as a champion who can retain her championship, but it was also about making Tiffany look good. Naomi is one of those people who, unfortunately, because she's been so good for so long, and she is literally by far, she's like Natalya level of veteran. Not to the fact, and I know people get mad when people say that about Natalya, like you mentioned somebody in Natalya, but they shouldn't, because literally Natalya is like a Hall of Famer if you're just going off how much work she really has put in over the years. But when you've been around that long, I think WWE sometimes feel like she's established and she doesn't really need to be put over. And I think even though we all know she probably could, again, she's probably been a little bit too giving as a character sometimes, but I really don't mind it, mostly because Bayley literally needs a friend. And if it's one person on the roster that really is legitimately her friend, it would be Naomi. So I didn't care at all about the hug after the match and all of that. And I think what one of you guys mentioned earlier about her joining up with Nia, give it time. It's a slow burn. As a matter of fact, with what happened to Jimmy, when Jim finally does come back and that version of the bloodline does come back, who's to say that her husband is even going to be a heel the way things have been set up with the way he was taken out of the other of Solo's version of the bloodline. So, but give it time. Her and Nia can link up, or they can, not. I don't think Naomi has to be forced into any direction just quite yet. Especially with the way Triple H likes to book things. He likes to take his time. The roll up wasn't a big deal to me either because she just got out wrestled. So I think they were trying to. It's funny that you said that. It's funny you said that was a big deal when I think they were actually trying to make Naomi look good by making her lose that way instead of taking a finish. But I can look at it both ways. I get it. I understand what you guys are saying. But I honestly also was happy with the fact that when I watched people talk about this match, how much love Naomi actually got because of, I think, people who kind of took her for granted in her initial run are starting to see kind of like what she got a chance to show a lot of people in Impact, James. Like, she can go.
Yeah.
And I think that's more so what they're trying to reestablish with Naomi. Remind people that she really can go. She's not just a pretty face, not just someone who's athletic. She can really wrestle. And I think Bayley is trying to establish her reign. And they're also trying to show that Tiffany is also not too far away from being a champion, too. So I thought that it accomplished all three of those goals. That's why I really like this match. And the crowds were great, obviously, like you mentioned.
To put your point on as well, though, about Naomi, it's exactly the same we saw with Chelsea Green, even the most recent NXT.
Yeah,
they can
exactly.
work. People forget because of the character.
Right.
And nothing to do with the match, but it was nice not to see green shirt guy in the front row. Don't know what happened, but again, it's just different. It's nice. Out of 5.
Also, I just want to point out, I'm not saying anything like, name, like with regards
You
to
hate
Naomi's
Naomi.
character.
That's what I heard. I heard that. Yeah, no.
No, I don't necessarily. I agree with Monty in the sense of I don't necessarily think that she needs to turn heel because I also agree, like with what's going on with Jimmy right now, it wouldn't make sense for her to turn heel. But that's where my level of frustration is because you've got Jade and Bianca who are these baby faces and dominating, and Naomi can be her own form of baby face, but I just didn't really understand the sort of celebration for Bayley after being the one to pick up the pin in such a silly way of it being a roll-up pin. For me, I would have felt like there was at least a level of frustration that would have come out from Naomi. This is her second opportunity here, and it got flopped from a roll-up. So there was like disappointment in her reaction, but not because she didn't turn heel. I don't expect that. I don't really feel like that would suit her character right now.
Scores, Gina, what would you score out of 5?
Yeah, I mean, aside from me being a little disappointed with Naomi's response at the end, I still think it was a great match between all three of them. So I'm going to give it 4 1/4.
4 1/4. Jaxie?
Sis?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear anything. It just felt like my connection just dipped out there. I'm not sure because I couldn't hear anything. My score, I'm giving it a 4.5.
4.5. Monty?
Yeah, 4 1/4. Like I said, accomplished all the goals. Really good triple threat.
Yeah, I gave it 4 1/4 as well. Predictions, we went Bayley, so all on 2. The new bloodline was shown walking past Jay backstage for the match, but nothing happened. It was just a quick look between the brothers. But Heyman's face was a look of help. And again, like you said, Monty, it is a slow burn. But I cannot, put into words how over Jimmy, Jay, and Roman are going to be when they come. It's just going to be...
that pop.
Oh.
The pop when the Tribal Chief music actually hits. Yeah, it's going to be insane. You know what I mean? Or if they... Yeah, it's just gonna be insane. I can already see it.
Exactly. The build, even if
they want to bring Jacob for 2 as well, and then just chuck Sami Zayn back in there.
Oh my god!
That's probably the end goal. War Games. I can already see it if that's what they want to do.
Fantastic stuff on the horizon, but still a lot of stuff to go here tonight. World Heavyweight Championship, Damien Priest versus Jey Uso, and the Leon crowd gave Uso a fantastic ovation when he made his entrance.
Superstar.
Oh, why, Monty, again, and Jaxie, Gina, we've all been to these live shows. Why did we not think of the phone light? Like, come on, we were there.
Oh, man,
like,
it fits so well.
The
fits
shot,
so well.
especially from behind,
Yeah,
with the whole crowd. Just, oh my
Dang.
God. And Uso had the crowd working with him as the match began. Every time he hit a move or dodged a strike, the fans would chant yeet. Uso played into it and Priest looked frustrated, as one would expect. Finn Balor showed up and at a super kick, but he distracted Uso long enough for Priest to hit South of Heaven for a 2 count. Jay made a comeback and hit a series of super kicks and an Uso splash. Old Big Ed JD McDonough showed up and put Priest's foot on the ropes to break the pin. The Arch Referee hit South of Heaven for the middle rope to get the pin and retain his title. But more interestingly, the champ pushed away Balor and Devlin afterwards as well. Now, Jaxie, Damien Priest, involved here, but I was quite shocked about the kind of interaction afterwards. But what were your thoughts on the match as well?
I mean, this match was awesome. Like right from the get-go, the opening, the crowd were so behind Jay. We've heard this. We've heard how late it was. We were recently there, as you just said. But my gosh, I cannot believe how lit they really were still like coming into this as the third match, and the same level of hype as was shown in both previous matches beforehand. This match was great. I think, do you know what? I'm going to say it, and it really actually pains me to say it, but I actually think that this match was a better match of like showcasing the level of talent that Jay has over the match at WrestleMania he had against his brother. I think him and Damian worked really well together. There were so many up and down moments where you just really thought Jay got this, and also just like the ongoing story that's being told here of the Judgment Day, just still not listening to Damian Priest when he's saying, he wanted to do this by himself. And you really could see that in both the moments that Finn and JD got themselves involved. It was at a point where like Damian hadn't even yet seen that either of them had come out. So I'm really intrigued as to see where things are going. And as you said, even the ending was very I was very shocked to see Damian just kind of defending Jay. I think it was
Very
like the line that because Damian's got that really deep voice, deep booming voice. Even without a microphone, you could actually hear him saying, "I said enough. I said leave it." And that's a real sort of strong statement to make as a heel. So I wonder how long this. I feel like since Mommy's gone, we are starting to see the cogs fall out. So
Well,
it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see where things go from here. Was I gutted Jay lost? Yeah, I think that Jay has got so much momentum behind him now that if they had called an audible just from like the reaction of the crowd, I wouldn't have even blamed Triple H for that. Yeah. But I still believe that his time will come. He's definitely proved so far that a singles run could work for him. So I have no doubt that we'll see gold on him at some point. But this is still Damian's time to shine. And right now, with the story that they are starting to tell from the end of the
I
know.
I've got a point. But anyway, as we were saying as well about that, Gene, it looks like Judgment Day hasn't got long left, but not to seem like an old guy. But this Jey Uso thing, as we spoke about, like it kind of reminds me of like Bret Hart when he was going for his like first singles championship. Like Jaxie said, the crowd is so behind Jey Uso, and it doesn't matter when he loses. That's how much love's there at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. Again, like at the end of the day, I wanted Jay to win because I've got all the hype as much as the crowd do behind him, but I also knew he wasn't going to win because it was too soon for Damian to lose it, but the crowd were still so behind Jay, whether they all had this same feeling, whether they had a gut feeling that Jay wasn't going to get this or was going to get it, they were just behind him like he was, regardless. So it was awesome.
Yeah, it really
And
was
yeah,
good.
Jax's Wi-Fi cut out.
And Monty, the question is, though, with this, is can Jay and Damien Priest be true main eventers, or are we just waiting for, like, Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, Seth Rollins to come back to do it? You know, like I said, at the moment, with the injuries, but it gives opportunities to others.
Yeah, I think Jay, if you just go off that reaction and the investment in whatever he does, I think Jay definitely has a chance of definitely being one. Damien, you know me, I'm a big fan of his work, always have been. I think he has the work for it. I just don't know. It'll take a little time for me to see whether or not management and whether or not people can really get invested in what he's doing. But I love it. I think both guys definitely have a big opportunity here to really solidify themselves. Because like you said, yes, you're waiting on Drew, but Drew is hurt. Punk is hurt. You know what I mean? All three guys you just listed that are certified main eventers are injured. So this is a time period here where you can actually try to solidify yourself so you can be the main event guy that they return to. And I think, like you mentioned, it's a massive opportunity. I would like to think both guys have a chance. But honestly, you know, like you guys were mentioning with Judgment Day, it's really, really interesting where they're going. Because as soon as Damien was trying to dominate the faction and he became world champion, I don't know if you remember this, but what was the belt Finn Balor spent a lot of time chasing?
Yeah.
It was that belt. And, you know, I think that's when he pushed Finn is when it really set in to me, where it's like pushing JD around is not really that big a deal. He's been doing that before he was champion. He was kind of, you know, everybody kind of pushes JD around. Even dominating Dominic is not that big of a deal because we know Mommy runs that. But when it comes to pushing Finn around, when is someone going to get in Finn here? Maybe a JD. Who can convince Finn to let him know that, hold on, you're the prince. You're this, you're that. You're the first Universal Champion. You're not going to let Damien or anybody just talk to you like you're nothing. Because, like you said, without Mommy that mediated, who was there to really stop them from really butting heads? And then when you got the theories about what Dominic has been doing and how he's been bringing random guys around the Judgment Day, you know what I mean? There's a lot of cracks in that foundation right now without Mommy. So I'm really interested to see, will she come back to scraps? Will they not even be together anymore by the time she returns? Or like, will they all be feuding when she's returned? It's really, really interesting. And it's really, you know, intriguing to see the many different directions that Triple H can really take this group. Or, you know, they can end up getting over their issues and actually be a united front behind Damien. And you can have a problem with that when Rhea comes back because they didn't really have a leader, even though I think we all kind of acknowledged Mommy as the star and the leader. So it's a really, really cool time. And I'm interested to see what happens, you know, how we do this. And I really like Damien trying to establish it by himself. You know, like you said, for someone who's in a heel position and somebody we've kind of looked at as the Judgment Day as a heel force, to see someone so insistent on not trying to take advantage of the numbers game that they have, it's a really interesting twist to a reign that could have been predictable and been, you know, basically what Roman's been doing. So I'm really interested to see what they decide to do going forward.
Well, that's the funny thing, though. Again, that's what I want to say, not to ruin the main event, but it seems like the WWE World Title kind of outside interference is cleared up, and now the Raw World Title has just got all the interference going on.
Right.
And I will say this quickly and move on, but I don't like Jey Uso's spear. Right, anyway, so scores. Jaxie, what would you score this match?
I gave this a 4 1/4. I'm here. I gave it a 4 1/4, and I'm sorry about my Wi-Fi.
That's fine. Should have heard what Gina said about you. Gina, what would you score out of 5?
You're such a little shit stirrer, James. I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Monty?
Yeah, I was thinking like maybe the match was a 4, but man, like you said, the energy, man, that crowd, 4 1/4 is a really fair rating.
I'm going to give it a 4. Predictions all went Priest. We're all on 3. It's quite interesting because the crowd were chanting a few things in it, and we weren't really sure. and I saw this kind of French translation, if you know what I mean, and it was just a couple of things. When the referees counting, they were going undone, and then it was like simplement do, which means like 1, 2, only 2, which is because of the commentator as well. The commentators are like superstars there, apparently, and there was a lot of other ones. I'll try and post this as well. There was funny ones as well. Someone updating and putting Charles Robinson. That is the name of the referee. Kind of don't need that much help, but thank you very much anyway. That is available if anybody wants it. And it's the largest gate of an arena show. I mean, Monty, again, talk about this. There was about 12,000 people there. So how much were they charging for it to be the largest gate of any WrestleMania or Rumble that they ever had, you know?
You mentioned green shirt guy. Well, there you go. I don't know. I think he's from America. So
like,
imagine having to travel to France and pay however much they were charging for those tickets. But no. Like you mentioned, that's insane when you think about it. And man, how many times are they gonna do an event and they break another record? Like I feel like they're shooting specifically to break every record. So Triple H can say my era is the most successful era everywhere we go.
By pound. Tickets up by pound every week. Yeah.
Exactly.
It is crazy. As we head to our next match.
I tell you what, Triple H was actually thinking, nah, I want every thought about Vince McMahon and any like sort of stamper he had in WWE just extinguished. So I'm just going to keep on record breaking until everyone forgets about WWE being associated with Vince and think of everything as Triple H.
But the thing is, it wasn't even sold out. I mean, they kind of mentioned it, but it wasn't officially sold out. There were still tickets available. So to not have a full arena and that much. Anyway, next match, women's tag titles. Kabuki Warriors versus Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Blair and Asuka started for their teams, and Cargill and Sane then tagged in at the same time. The Storm put her strength on display by throwing Sane around as she weighed nothing, and it literally was like a rag doll around the ring. Blair and Cargill controlled the pace quite a bit, but the champs used a numbers game and some double-team tactics to get the upper hand at times. The crowd remained lively and chanting for the babe faces throughout the entire contest. You tell the fans were excited to see Cargill every time she got the tag. Blair and Jade hit their finishers and scored the pin to become your new women's tag team champions. And the women got a great ovation from the crowd. Gina, what about this then, eh? How dominant did Belair and Cargill look?
I mean, yeah, they really did. Not that I didn't doubt the Kabuki Warriors, because I think that they are some of the best female wrestlers on the roster as well. But in terms of height difference and just that difference between those two and Bianca and Jade, my gosh, they took a battering. That's for sure. But they did use the numbers quite a lot. And obviously the fact that they've been working together as a team for so long shows the chemistry for them to still at least have an upper hand sometime throughout this match. But my God, Jade and Bianca just look like a star team. I really hope that, like WWE, I know at some point they're going to split them up. They're going to do Bianca versus Jade. We got that moment at WrestleMania where we saw them both. Not WrestleMania, sorry, Royal Rumble, where we saw them both just staring each other off in the ring, and it was an epic moment. But I really hope they don't do that anytime soon. I would love to just cement them solidly as like a tag team, and I'm loving them at the moment. They just looked amazing.
Yeah, everything about this was good. I mean, Jay did look great. And I mean, Monty Kari was bumping around like Mr. Perfect. And I don't think only that, but I think it was the most that Jade had to sell in a match. So again, it was a kind of different challenge. But I think
it's their WWE style, man.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, it's the WWE style. Not to take any shots at her run in AEW, but we didn't really get a chance to see much. She was so dominant in AEW. She rarely had to do any type of major bumps or any type of selling. But they did a good job of mixing it up in this match. And like you mentioned, Kyrie selling and bumping. I really do believe that she probably weighs nothing to Jade. Honestly, she was throwing her around like that was not a grown woman that she was just chucking around. But yeah, man, it was really, really cool to watch. I think it's always going to be a spectacle with these two. I believe that they will be established as a team, mostly because it's gonna make whenever they do finally fight, whether it's Bianca turning or whether it's Jade turning, when they finally do it, it's gonna be an epic clash. And I think you can tell a better story because you show how dominant they were together and just how much of a bond they seem to build. Like they've kind of talked about it outside of the ring on just how much they have in common, how they have common goals for what they want to do in the industry. So, it's just kind of already cool to see how fast they've already seemingly established a bond. And I think they can be they can run with the tag belts as long as they want them. I mean, who realistically can stop
No
them?
one. No one.
You know what I mean? Honestly, who
one.
can realistically stop them? And
Two Piper
take
Nivens. I was trying to work
yeah,
that
exactly. Nia, Piper, you know what I mean? Some type of super team that joined up, maybe.
Monty, as you're saying though, the only way they can lose these titles now is problems between themselves, and that's where the
Right.
story is.
Egos or something like that. And that's why I think you let them run with it, let them carry it, let them be dominant. I love that they already seem to be working on tag team moves to just show that they are invested in this. And honestly, I always thought, if Bianca was going to achieve everything that she can achieve in this division, Jade is the perfect, the perfect person to complement her style. You know what I mean? And they're just such a great. It's something that I didn't really know that we would get in this. Like when I saw Jade signing, I thought it was a chance that they could do something, but to see it and see how they decided to put it together, I'm really excited for what's to come. The Kabuki Warriors is really at this point, if you're just going off with what those tag belts mean, they are pretty much the greatest tag team as far as days and just what they've done with the belt. So dethroning them the way they did, relatively easy. It was really, really cool to see. And I know Oscar was working through her injury. Shout out to Oscar for always being professional. She's done that multiple times, worked through stuff, and then you find out after the fact that, she was hurt. And it's like, really? And it's so yeah, shout out to Oscar. I hope she gets well soon. But this was really, really good, and the crowd was incredible. And I honestly think they had one moment where you could tell Jade with them was trying to get a spot together, right? And I honestly believe that was the crowd fault because I don't think they've ever wrestled in a crowd that never relaxed
again.
If you know what I mean, it was so loud.
Not to take a shot at AEW, but to have a crowd like any WWE talent wouldn't have wrestled in front of a crowd like that. So again,
exactly.
Excuse me, but like you said, Jaxie, as we've spoken about, I love the matching gear with Belair and Cargill, but Jade gets her first gold, and Bianca becomes a Grand Slam champion. Well done, Bianca Belair. Grand Slam champ. A lot of people, though, Jax, were complaining about Cargill, getting a gold. And it's like, are you happy or not? You were moaning that she wasn't debuted, and then she has debuted, and you know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, how else should she be showcased? Did this not happen exactly the same way with Ronda Rousey? Shut up. Just shut up, Jade deserved this. They've really showcased her well since she first debuted. And this is how it was always going to go. Things like that will always happen in wrestling with specific wrestlers, So deal with it. This match was great. I think you all made some really great points. So I don't really feel like I have much else new to say apart from reiterate everything all of you have said about the situation, about the match, about Asuka. So best and well wishes to Asuka always. But they're so professional, and just seeing these two teams in the ring facing off against one another, I never would have thought that at the beginning of the year. I could not have told you, in 5 months' time, from the beginning of the year, we were going to get this match. I loved it from beginning to end, and I do think that, as you guys said, this was a different version of Jade we were getting here because we were actually getting a chance to see her doing this sort of selling that we never got to see from her within AEW. So I thought she did really well. I also agree, Bianca. If she was going to ever have a tag team partner that was on her caliber, on her level, complementing her wrestling style, it was going to be Jade. So this, for me, is just gold. They've got the gold, and I'm more than happy with this decision. So it was a great match.
Yeah. Scores, Gina, out of 5, what would you give it?
Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to give this a 4.25 as well.
Monty?
Yeah, I gave it 3 3/4. It was really, really good.
Jaxie?
I too gave it 4.25.
I gave it 4. Predictions are all Belair and Cargill, so all on 4. And the main event, Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles for the WWE Universal Championship. The crowd sang along with the champion's entire entrance song. You can't with AJ because they fucked it big time. But anyway, you could feel the energy. I had to mention it. Come on, we're all thinking it. You could feel the energy come through the TV as the French crowd went wild for the phenomenal one. I don't think AJ Styles has had a reaction like that. And Cody Rhodes as well was the man. You know, thank you for the house, Cody, as they say. They locked up and started with a standard exchange of holds, takedowns and counters. Corey Graves pointed out that both men had great amateur wrestling backgrounds. Rose gave Styles a receipt from SmackDown by slapping him across the face. He even pulled out his old Stardust taunt to show that his opponent didn't get under his skin by bringing up his old gimmick. He did a great job sprinkling big spots throughout the contest to build anticipation for the finish, and the crowd kept chanting and cheering to keep them going. After hitting a few signature moves, the American Nightmare hit Crossroads for the win to retain his title. Monty, as I mentioned earlier, no outside interference in a WWE title match since 2022. It is a new era, my friend.
Right, man, right. Yeah, man, pure wrestling. Straight by the book. Just really, really good stuff, man, from both guys. I don't even know how this is another match you really can't do justice. The La Phenomena or from the phenomenal chance. Oh my goodness. Like you mentioned, AJ even had to break character on Twitter and just kind of show love to France and just be like, I know I'm supposed to be a bad guy. But man, that was special. So he even everybody can feel the energy of just how incredible that crowd was for him, and just even for Cody, like you mentioned, he felt like the man, the guy, and this was the match. It was just it had a perfect spotlight on it. It was and they did a really good job for a match where I think we all kind of figured because of just same kind of thing we mentioned with Damien and figuring that the match would not that Cody would not go down. It was still very, very good moments, and that just speaks to the professionalism and just how good those two guys are as pros to still have me believing at times that AJ would have a chance. And I just want to tell everybody on the internet, I saw your stupid tweets, your posts, however you felt about AJ, but with his match with LA Knight and the way he looked here, all that AJ Styles is washed stuff. I think that should be out the window. Anybody who thought he lost the step or whatever they thought. I think these matches show you that AJ still as good as he ever was, even at 40-something years old.
They said that when he joined WWE back in 2016, man, didn't they? So
right, exactly. And he still somehow is just incredible. He's in great shape. I wouldn't be opposed to him getting another WWE title run. Obviously, the timing is just not right now. But yeah, man, he was incredible in this match. Cody was incredible as a babyface fighting underneath. The crowd was into everything that they did. And yeah, man, this was just good stuff. Like a really fun way for Cody to kind of get his his reign started in a real intense title match, big match field, defense of his championship. I loved every second of it, man. This was really good.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Jaxie, I will say to you what your thoughts, but I mean, did you know, obviously, this was the first time ever meeting between AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes, but did you know that AJ faced Dusty Rhodes in TNA?
Oh, okay. I didn't know that this was his first time facing Cody.
Yeah, but
That's interesting.
He faced his dad Dusty in TNA. And what I quite liked about it, the callback, was AJ wore purple gear against his dad and then against his son. So again, a nice callback from AJ Styles.
That's very cool. I'm glad you actually told me about that because that's really cool. And as my sister is very much into her purple, we did actually clock his gear and thought that his gear was really nice. So I like that he did that and paid homage to the match that he had against Cody's father. That's great. Again, I have to agree with everything that Monty said about this match. Anyone who thought that that AJ might have lost it, I think this match, like, he just proved to everyone he still got it. This match was so good from beginning to end. Cody and AJ work so well together. I'd be interested to see them face off again. That was a great match, and I enjoyed every second of it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Gina, as Jaxie said, like I can see these two mixing it up, maybe in a no DQ match or anything like that. And I just gave Jaxie a stat, so I'll give you one as well. The referee, Jessica Carr, and I was mentioned during it as well, became the first woman to referee a main event of a WWE title match, or a PLE as it was as well. So fair play. I mean, Jessica Carr, I've been a fan of her since her early days in NXT, so it's great to see her have that moment.
Yeah, for sure. I only saw that sort of after watching the event, but that was still cool factor, like just cool back to like even her history of working with Cody in the past and just being able to be involved in this sort of match and this main caliber of a match, you know. So fair play to her, and you know, I'm always happy for those who are not just the wrestlers, but people who work behind the scenes and on the scenes. You know, if it's commentating or refereeing, I still got a lot of respect for them. So really pleased for her on that. And yeah, I thought the match was great. I've always loved AJ. I've never not loved him. I don't understand what people's problems with him are, but I think if anyone has a problem with him, they're just jealous that he can still move like that at his age and still look like that at his age. There are so many people out there who are unfit, unkept, and for them to be, you know,
Hey,
slated.
Don't talk to me about that. That's not very nice.
No, but I'm just saying, like, there are people out there who will slam people for their appearance, i.e. Sheamus, i.e., you know, Deonna Purrazzo. Like, so many people just get shamed for their appearance at the moment. And it's just like they, you know, people behind the scenes are not practicing what they preach. So, yeah, I just ignore it because I think AJ just looks phenomenal and is phenomenal.
Yeah, he really, really is. So scores for the main event, Monty, we're going to give it.
Yeah, man, I give it 5 stars, man. It's about time that Meltzer got one right, I guess you would say. Finally giving him a 5-star match. I know I don't pay his ratings. It's just his opinion. I don't pay him no mind, but this was definitely perfect.
Match was 5 stars. Like, I don't know.
Right,
Meltzer gave this 5 stars.
Apparently this was better. I don't know what.
Yep.
But yeah, he gave this one 5 stars. Finally,
Yep.
you know, finally somebody gets some love. But yeah. But definitely a great match. Perfect to me, man. This was all the bells and whistles were there.
Jaxie?
I mean, like, I feel like this is really bittersweet because I hate actually scoring the same as Dave Meltzer, but I also gave this a 5-star. But I feel like because both men deserve that 5 stars in this match, not because Dave Meltzer called it a 5-star match.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Gina?
Yeah, I gave this 5 stars as well. I was excited to see Cody versus AJ because it wasn't something we've seen before. So it was just a nice difference, and the match was lit.
The thing is that, again, I know it was a good match, but maybe I was a little bit tired watching it, or whatever the excuse, but I'm going to give it 4 3/4. For me, I enjoyed the opener more than I enjoyed the main event.
I bet if Drew was in there, though, it would have been 5 stars. Someone's so freaking bitter.
What about that? If Drew was there,
sure, okay.
5. So, predictions. We all went Cody. So, final scores. You know what this means, guys, don't you? We all got a perfect score. How fucking cool are we, eh? All perfect scores. A perfect score.
Is this my first perfect score? I think it could be.
No.
Especially for WWE. Especially this WWE.
Jackson, it's your first back-to-back win in about 8 months.
Yeah. That's progress.
Gina, you continue your WrestleMania winning ways in Backlash, but, I mean, is a part of you annoyed that everybody got it?
Nah, because this paper premium live event was quite a short one. There was only 5 matches, you know, and in the nicest way possible, it was slightly easy to call because it's following WrestleMania where some big wins were made. So I'm not bitter about that at all now.
I think you're right, but again, there's only 5 matches to like a takeover. And I don't know, Monty, you and I, we ain't getting perfect scores every couple of months, are we? So again, to get perfect score, it's still quite good.
Yeah, it's always good. It's always good to have a little bit of luck on your side, man. Because who knows? What if they DQ the Kabuki Warriors match or something, or like what if something weird happened? Like you always can get screwed over sometimes when you do these things. So it's always a great it's always awesome when you get one. But I do kind of agree with her. This one was kind of one of those. It's still kind of predictable whether you want to say certain things. You just kind of expected everything to go away, and it went that way. And I think honestly, that's what kind of made this show even better to me is the fact that it went the way that I'm sure most people thought it would go. But it was still a good damn time. It was brisk. It was really really cool. But I'm with you.
Yeah.
Like when you don't have a 15 match card, Tony, you don't have you don't have to make mistakes. I'm always gonna make a mistake when Tony want me to sit through those long ass cards. But whatever.
But no, but again, like you said, to have this here, and it shows the progression of everybody. Because, like I said, I've been doing predictions maybe a little bit longer than you guys, but when we're at this point and we go, oh, it's so easy, there are other people that might have got it wrong. So, hopefully we can keep this momentum going. It means the bonus league, Monty is on 17 now, Gina on 13, I'm on 12, Jaxie on 8. It means Jaxie is on 1 point now with the WWE Prediction League. Monty, Gina, and James in a three-way tie on 3. And, of course, we know the AEW score. So, overall, and Monty, as you said, the thing is with Triple H and what he's done, he's basically turned these into takeovers. And I cannot say how much I've been loving it. 5 matches, 3 hours. It's just the flow of it as well. It's so much better,
Yeah, no little wasteful segments. Every little backstage segment is usually a promo that sets up a match or sets up something. Like everything, sometimes we watch some of those shows in the old era and it would be so much wasted time and we have to sit through 10 matches. So, yeah, man, I love the pacing of everything. It's been a focus on wrestling, and I think that's something else that's been great. As much as they're telling great stories, but they're also focusing on the in-ring work too, just like those takeover days.
Yeah, without doubt. My match of the night was the street fight. You guys' match of the night was the main event. So do MVP. Jaxie, who was your MVP of the night? I've got a little bit of a weird one, so I'll ask you guys first. Jaxie?
Yeah, match of the night. Obviously, I would give it AJ Styles and Cody.
Well, should I tell you my MVP? I'll tell everybody my MVP. And then
you go first.
Mine is the crowd. And normally I wouldn't do this, but I think the crowd in itself was such a special thing that it made everything in the ring so much better. And again, I think you could say, Tama had a great one, like I said, the women's title match. But the crowd for me is what this event will be remembered for. So that's why it's my MVP.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I kind of want to agree with that statement with the crowd being MVP. I do also have written here Tama, and mainly for sort of like such a successful sort of debut match. From that point of view, I gave him MVP. But I have to agree with you. The crowd really were the MVP. They were the ones that really brought these matches to life.
They really did. Gina, what about you? Who's your MVP?
Do you know what? I'm gonna say MVP was Jay because I think he did well, even though he took the loss, and I think the crowd, France just loved him.
Yeah, they did. Monty?
Yeah, like I said, greatest crowd ever. So I'm not gonna give him my MVP. That's a big, I think saying that is pretty good. And but I'm gonna go with like you mentioned, Jade and Tama Tonga. Like I said, just kind of like Jade for achieving something all this fast in her career, and just looking like again, she's also looking like I didn't mention this earlier, but it's like she's added a few things to the bag. Also, like it was a couple moves, a couple things that she wasn't really doing in AEW that you're starting to see that all of that training kind of paying off. And then with Tama,
that too.
Yeah, and then with Tama, again, like I mentioned, fitting in and just kind of proving what a lot of us people who had the pleasure of watching him for all those years. He's been in New Japan a long time. So to kind of be able to see him fit in a place where I think if you watched him even back in the day, you probably would always be like, you know what, I think he would fit in pretty well there. And to actually come in and debut like that, feeling like a big deal, in a top storyline. I'm just really, really happy for him, God, and everybody involved, and I'm just excited to see what they do next. But yeah, Tom and Jade are my MVP.
Yeah, Adele. So out of 10 then, Gina, rating, what would you score it?
Do you know what? I'll give it an 8 because I enjoyed pretty much every match.
Jaxie?
I mean, for having 5 matches, it's hard to kind of like give it like a full rating out of 10 and stuff, because I feel like, which like you guys said, it was very like much like a takeover. But I'm gonna give it an 8.5. It was really good. To be honest, actually, no. Do you know what? I'll give it a 9 just for the crowd.
No, that's it. I'm not saying it's a Monty. The takeover thing for me is not a complaint. Like when we were doing the pod, what was it, 5-6 years ago? We had like 5-hour pay-per-views, and to have a show that's. But Jackson, do you feel like we're missing? Yeah, but Jackson, do you feel like we're missing something else? Not having kind of a couple of extra matches.
No, I agree. I completely agree. Sometimes that's completely unnecessary. And when you just actually fizz matches that there's been hardly any build up or any storyline for, not only does that match and that segment suffer and actually cause the crowd to dip, but that is exactly how you cause fans to lose interest in those wrestlers, because you've really just pushed and forced the storyline not only on the wrestlers but on us. When you keep it short and simple like this, we actually could focus on the storyline, focus on the intensity of it, and also focus on the wrestlers and the match and the caliber of it itself. This to me was perfect. It was exactly what it needed. If they did want more matches on it, then they would have done more build up for that. But I'm glad that they didn't force any force any matches that were just not needed, unnecessary, and just unwelcome.
I got you. So Monty, score out of 10.
Yeah, like again, I gotta give it a 9. Like you mentioned, special crowd. You got a really great main event, a really great opener, and so a lot of good in between. Like nothing on this show was disappointing at all. I think she just made a really good point about how everything felt like a big deal, or at least you were invested in it because of the time taken to invest you in each character and each story that they're trying to tell. So yeah, man, this is really, really good stuff from everybody involved. The crowd is, I think, again, if you ever come back to this, just like Backlash last year, I felt like you can go back and you would. I think all of us can go back and appreciate the crowd from last year's Backlash and watching Bad Bunny and Priest do their thing there, and then where we were in France. It's just a different feel, and I always love shows where the crowd is like that, man. I saw some people had the nerve to complain about it, and I'm just like, so you guys enjoy the random Monday Night Raw dead crowd?
What?
But or the one chance when someone is talking or whatever, you enjoy that. But a crowd that is genuinely having the time of their lives pisses you off. Like, I don't get it. But yeah, man, this was really, really good stuff. 9 for me.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna give it 8.75. Basically, what everybody said, just really, really fun stuff. And again, you mentioned it, Monty, about Backlash, of course, last year. Being Puerto Rico, of course, now in France. And Triple H mentioned in the press conference, we're not even sure where we're going to go next year, And another thing as well is that he got a text from Nick Khan saying stadium. So that's probably the next thing we're going to see in France. From the press conference as well, we saw Belair and Cargill saying they are moving on from accomplishing first. It is now the norm. And again, Gina, that is the message. We spoke about it with Swerve and everything like this in our last episode. Like, that is history being made, and now it's just normal.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely was like the message we made. But either way, it doesn't bother me.
Well, we move on. And Cody Rhodes mentioned Jamie Noble called him the Golden Boy. He said he is the face of the new era. He wants Dustin Rhodes to go into the Hall of Fame. He doesn't mind who he faces next. He said LA Knight, and of course against Randy Orton as well. Triple H, it's just Monty, as we know, biggest gate in history, most money ever printed in a single seating, merchandise. The European tour as well. He said this is the place they're going to look at. Of course, he mentioned London Mayor Sadiq Khan as well, saying he needs to speak to him as well. There was only one weird thing. And one final question was asking about Drew Gulak getting released, with Triple H saying, "Oh, you need better sources and all this lot." That guy will not be invited back. But again, it puts a nice end to the evening as well. Even though you could be like, "Oh, a bit smug from Triple H," but fuck it, he deserves it. Look at what they've done. You know?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. When you're breaking all these records, and you're doing a lot of stuff. Like, yeah, you may come off a certain type of way, but like you said, the energy and just the press conference. I love it. I love the press conferences. They give just a new element to the show. And, again, it just kind of wraps everything up with a nice little bow on top. So, yeah, man, on to the next one, though. And I really love the idea of every year. I don't know how many.
What are they going to do next? Mars.
Yeah, I love it. Right. I love that they're traveling every year right after Mania. You know what I mean? Like, exactly. Let's go wherever we got to go next, man. Jupiter, wherever we're going. Let's do it. I love it.
Well, Raw and SmackDown afterwards was the start of the King and Queen of the Ring.
Oh, my goodness.
Which we will cover on the next podcast. Again, that's only
All
like
that
3 weeks
wrestling.
away, a couple of weeks.
Whew.
Unbelievable. I mean, I will say,
I love it.
Ilya versus Ricochet, I have never been more smug in my entire fucking...
It was 10 minutes. I could not believe that was only 10 minutes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That match was
special,
insane.
man.
That was
I
insane.
was not expecting that. That was awesome.
And now I'm scared for Jey Uso life next week.
Yeah. And I'm like, we
scared
can't
for
get
you, Jey.
Gunther versus Ilya in a semi-final, but I guess we're going to find out, aren't we?
We'll
So,
see. Yeah.
don't forget, we're across all social media, Twitter at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNR JR. You can find the entire WNR team on the Twitter banner. Monty, where can people find and listen to you?
Like you said, at mine, Monty Pod, or mine, the Monty Podcast. You check me out, check out my old shows. We will be definitely doing more content at a different time. I got a lot of stuff going on right now, but definitely keep tabs on me at my Monty Pod on X.
Jaxie, where can people find and whatever? I won't say listen, but subscribe, follow. What do you want people to do?
You can follow me on both X, Twitter, and Instagram at Jaxie Scarlett, and you can follow or subscribe over on Twitch at Jaxie Scarlett.
And finally, Gina, where can people find your genius?
They can find it on the same platforms at Purple Pain.
Perfect. The Double also on Facebook and Instagram, across all Google platforms. Send us an email, thedoubleuppodcast@gmail.com. YouTube podcast with latest clips and podcasts go at the same time on YouTube to do SoundCloud on your phone, also Spotify and iTunes, where you can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that is it. Our next episode in 2 weeks, I'm hoping to catch up with New Japan. There is a hell of a lot to catch up on. I'm not going to lie, but I think we can do it in 2 weeks. But Monty, we will still got an NXT update to do. We're going to try and do that. But again, there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of moving pieces, but hopefully we can sort it out at some point. But people listening, that is the plan for the next couple of weeks. Until then, I've been James Rowlands, and I was joined by the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. Jaxie, you're on a winning streak. Can you believe it?
I mean, we'll see how this goes, and hopefully we can keep it up. Hopefully this might be my year of at least catching up.
We'll see what happens. And, of course, the mind of Monty. And I promise, Monty, when we do Japan show, I'll try and keep your blood pressure down about Jon Moxley.
Oh, man, the rant is going to be epic. I'm just going to let you know ahead of time.
And, of course, the genius of Gina. Gina, I mean, one day we will do an intro together. Can you just promise me that? Can you give me that hope?
Yeah, I mean, I'll consider it. That's for sure.
Hey, guys, she said consider
No
it.
promise.
There's no promises. Just
Do
consider
you know
it.
what? That's the best offer I've had from a woman in about 15 years. So I appreciate you. All right. I appreciate everybody.
Praying for you, my brother.
The fight is real. Thanks for listening, everybody. And bye.